They were county road.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So you got it.
See, are you talking about the Shaw? You know, the really good book is called All the Sharks Men. You've heard of all the Results Men, and you've heard of all the King's Men. It's over the times and good history of Iran. And it's before your time, but not ancient history. Way back
So you doing? How you doing there?
Talk to other people.
Okay, sure.
Make sure you.
I've had worse on them.
What you're talking about.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'd like to offer an opening prayer for the meeting tonight. Anyone's welcome to join me, if you'd like. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this time that we can join together and get the business of the Oregon Township done. We ask for wise leadership and good decisions in this meeting, and we pray for your guidance in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yes, we met you at a county commission meeting. How are you doing?
Great.
Yeah.
All right. I feel like an island.
We met at one of the other township meetings.
Oh, I think you're sitting next to each other.
Yes.
Hey, nice seeing you again. Oh, anyways, be safe, okay?
Yeah.
Did you get
Good
a
luck
card?
to you. Yes, you
Okay.
did give me a
Cool.
card,
Nice seeing
yes.
I had 2 years and one of my mothers said he had a lot of friends still there. So.
Soaking in the sun. And,
Is your phone on silent, Rich? Everybody's phone on silent?
What?
I'm just trying to help you out, right? Just like school, right, Ben? Of course,
School, what's that?
Then it was like, get off your
You didn't go
phone.
back to school.
Sometimes the ringtones are worse.
We're always in school.
Yeah.
You're not learning something every day, find something to learn.
Okay, at 6 o'clock, we'll call the meeting to order. Stand for the pledge.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we got Commissioner Mr. Nisley and Hagadon.
Glad to be here.
Go ahead, Brad.
I'll let Brad go first.
Okay.
Yes, greetings. We passed the POLC Unit A command and the POAM Unit B deputies union contracts last week. We also approved the $35,000 grant for our kindergartners to get oral health. And we also approved the renewal of the county's liability insurance coverage through MMR, which I'm sure you guys are somewhat used to being here in the township. And are you gonna talk about the environmental resource group, spring and fall? You want me to cover that? We also approved the Properties Committee recommendation to bid for the Environmental Resources Group, ERG, to conduct 2 household hazardous waste events each fiscal year, one in the spring, one in the fall. One will absolutely be out in Imlay City at the Eastern Michigan Fairgrounds. We're looking for a location here on the west side to service the residents over here on the west side of the county. With that, I'll turn it over to Commissioner Nyson.
Just to tag onto that here, those events are, we do 2 a year, they're $20,000 each event. Eastern Michigan Fairgrounds does a great job with it. They got a covered area, so it works out really good. We really like to see something over on the west side over here. So if anybody knows of anybody that has some property like Portalis or some other properties that they could accommodate an event like this, that would help out a lot here, so we can get some exposure over here on this side of town. People, they just don't want to drive over there. It's not that far. That's just one of the stigmas I guess we got to deal with. But I'll talk about flock. If you haven't heard already, that has been taken off the table. The sheriff withdrew that request for the flock cameras. I think he pretty much realized that there was not a lot of support for it with the general public and with the commission as well. I think maybe all of us, we didn't vote on it, so it never came to a vote because it got withdrawn. But I don't think there was anybody on the commission that would have supported it in its form the way it was. There were some things with flock that they tried to do and ask for, and they wouldn't make changes to the contract, and it became very onerous and unpopular. So, and then there's also the issues with the privacy rights and everything else. I think Genesee County is really backing away from this too, as well as other counties and municipalities across the entire nation here. So, flock is dead and dying, and I think that's a good thing for all of us here that are mindful of the Constitution and our rights. And I agree it's a great law enforcement tool, and I commend the sheriff for bringing it up. I mean, he makes some good points, and it's not the right time for that. I think eventually this thing will find its way, be the the Supreme Court, and maybe some portions of it, if not the whole thing, be rule of constitution. So that's where we're at with flock. So it's dead. A lot of talk on roads. I've had a lot of calls from constituents on roads. If you live on a dirt road, and I do, it's awful. We have around Lapeer, Stewart Road is closed. Bullock Road should have been closed. Right in front of the supervisor's house, when I went down to the township yesterday, they actually had a road grader out there, and they're trying to make it better because I have a big truck there, and I had to do 3 miles an hour, and I felt like I was on Lake Michigan in a 30-mile-an-hour windstorm. It's pretty bad, but there's the road commission. There's some issues. There's some money in Lansing that was approved to go to local communities for roads. It's being held up. It's probably going to be held for quite a while due to the marijuana issue, and the taxes on the marijuana is being challenged, and there's lawsuits going on. It could protract this thing out at least 12 months or more. So some of that needed funding that should be otherwise coming our way is going to be delayed. The road commission would love to pass a millage. If you live on a nice paved road, I'm sure you don't want to pay for somebody else's dirt road. So there's a lot of issues revolving around, what we need, who's going to pay for it, and how we're going to find funding for it. I'm not a big tax guy. I don't support a new millage. I think there are other ways that we can maybe try to reallocate some money from other places, and try to find some funding for the roads. But in the meantime, the road commission last year was $1.2 million over budget, which is so it's a huge number. So they're trying to shift some of the burden over to the local townships, and the local townships say, "Well, we want us to get the money for this." It may, in our case, I know one of the old treasurer at Elton Township made issue anybody knows who he is. He tried to create a special assessment district on Mitchell Road to get the road paved. He got real close, but he couldn't get it over the finish line. I think that might be the answer. You know, if you live on a dirt road, it's terrible, or you might have to get an SAD, set up and try to get the road paved that way. You know, I mean, but you get these roads, and everybody uses them as shortcuts, and so I bet you 75% of the traffic on the roads around like Lapeer, Bullock Road, Stewart, Mitchell, Hurd, and Sutton are being used by people that don't even live anywhere near those areas. They just use them as shortcuts to get out there in 24. So it is a challenge. A couple of things, the road commission, it costs money to do their mowing, their brushing, and grinding, and all those other activities and general maintenance on the roads. What they're charging the townships for now, Mike Bosky mentioned this yesterday at the meeting yesterday morning, that these quotes are 2 times more than private companies are willing to pay, are asking for. So 100%. It's a big deal, So I'm not sure what's going on over there at the road commission, but there's some money issues over there, and I think I heard, this is just a rumor, I heard from a credible source that they all got, administration people got 40% raises, and nobody out there, they can't find personnel to run these. I know these graders, and the cost of equipment's expensive. And it's probably double what it was 6, 7, 8 years ago. So it's a double-edged sword, and it's going to be a tough issue to deal with here going forward here. So God bless them. Let's see, Trudowski Park. Just got a briefing today. We had some serious issues with a pool contractor out there. Frank Rewald is a general contractor on the job. Of course, as a general, you hire your subcontractors, and he was too deep on the people that were doing the pool and the splash pad and all that, as far as doing tile work, some concrete work, and all the pumps and apparatus that we need to run the pool. One of the companies just was, they've been kicking us around here for the last 18 months plus. And I think we finally hit the threshold of saying, we said we're done. So we're going to call bonds, but the way it works is we can't call a bond on them. They have a bond with Rewald, so we'd have to call the bond on Rewald. And it just got really messy. And my suggestion is why don't we just fire them? And there's another contractor. And that's what Frank Rewald ended up having to do. Found a local contractor, Midwest Pool, to come in there and finish the work. But the thing is, it's moving along pretty good. It saves us, because we're running up against a hard deadline of December 31st for the ARPA money. If we don't spend that money and get it out of our accounts and in somebody else's account, we lose it. It goes back. And that would not be a good optic to share with the community here when that money's sitting there. So I think this is going to get us by that. And so he's got the new company coming in, pretty much kick the other ones. I don't know what's going on with the bonds, that's between him. But we're not going to lose any money as a county, because Rewald is going to insure us. I think there was like $130,000 roughly that were at stake here, as far as, we're losing a season. We can't get that pool open even if we wanted to this summer, because it wouldn't happen until probably the middle of the summer. We have to hire staff. Nobody's going to want to. We're out there, pool, staff out there, the concessions, all the way down to the lifeguards and all that. These kids, the labor market's tight enough as it is. Go out there and say, hey, we have a job for you. We can't start until July 15th, maybe not. It just is not going to work. So it gives us an opportunity to get 100% done, get the seating done, get the landscaping done, and all, and we'll be ready to rock and roll next summer. And I know I said that last year too. For this summer, it just didn't work out.
About jobs, is the rec center county jobs too? The Lapeer County Rec Center?
That's city owned.
City, okay. I was just saying, I was just thinking in my head as soon as you said that, because kids looking for a summertime job, if there were, I know a lot of times they run those camps over there at the rec center, and if they, maybe put in a few extra programs earlier in the summer, right. And then it could
slide over to maybe over here, and that might work out, but city, county, that's not gonna work out, so forget that brainstorm.
Yeah, it's a challenge. I mean, we all have dealt with, if you're an employer, you know, we deal with that in companies too, that, it's getting better slowly, but there's just not enough people who are willing to work. And Gen Z and Gen X people, you know, it's like, okay, I'll work from 10 to 2, Monday through Thursday, but on 3-day weekends, I don't force the time off. It just doesn't work.
And the good news for you, Cheryl, if you're interested in a part-time job out at General Swire and driving, we just upped the seasonal concession board attendant positions from $12.50 to $13.75 an hour. Or you can become a seasonal maintenance position, which we just upped from $13 an hour to $14.50. So if you and Wayne would like a part-time job,
Good
we
to
are
know.
hiring.
I know a lot of, young adults that might be interested in it. Thank you, Bradley, for sharing.
Okay, anything else, Kevin, or you good?
No, that's pretty much about it. All I got, and other than what Brad mentioned, if y'all have any questions, anything in particular.
Okay, do we have any public comment on the agenda? Yes, ma'am.
Hi there, my name is Susan Huff and I'm from Oregon Township. I want to speak to GLTA. I had sent you folks.
So, ma'am, that'll be at the second public comment. This
That's
is
on the agenda.
What?
Transit Authority?
Okay, all right, you're fine.
Okay, thank you. In January, I sent you folks a letter about some Open Meeting Act violations that have been observed there. And just to make sure I wasn't really, out of it, I sat down with an attorney who does work with Open Meetings Act and confirmed that the things that had been observed and documented were indeed problems. I wanted to let you know that since then, the last time I was able to attend a meeting was January, but they are making improvements based on the letter that I sent them, a copy of which I sent to you. So I'm very pleased to see that. Previously, when you arrived, the door was locked, you had to be allowed in. The actual meeting room was not locked, but you couldn't get to the meeting room until they allowed you to get in there. That was changed at the January meeting, and I'm assuming is staying changed. Also, you were being required to sign in, and that has been changed as well. So I appreciate that. The minutes, Ms. Bales has said, are going to be available as required by the Open Meetings Act and the Freedom of Information Act. So again, really great progress. I'm really pleased by that. The biggest concern I had at the time was there had been some repairs to vehicles and the purchase of a vehicle that decisions were made via email as opposed to in an open meeting. And I have a very dear friend that relies on GLTA, so I understand how important it is to keep vehicles in service. But as you guys know, special meeting only takes 18 hours. So they could have called a special meeting and made those decisions in an Open Meetings Act as required. And hopefully that is what will be happening in the future. Everybody who sits on that board is somehow a township official or has been a municipality official. So they should all know the Open Meetings Act, and I hope that in the future they'll all work together to make sure that things stay in compliance. I just wanted to let you know that things look better. And can I give these to you for your board? Thank you very much.
Any more public comment on the agenda? Go ahead, Mark.
I want to thank Kevin again for speaking against cameras in our last month's meeting here. Thank him again today. We're talking about the roads. Stanley Road again is washed out. It's one lane, and so the bus has to, jog through that mess. And the county commissioners, I would hope that they would put on the ballot money, tax us $100, $200 a year to improve our roads. He's speaking against that. He wants the money to come from those other people. Well, we are the other people. One more thing, on trees, they apparently have enough money because they just marked 3 of my 250-year-old trees to cut them down because the edge of them was on the right-of-way, 66-foot right-of-way. They're 31 foot instead of 32 foot off the edge. So they're going to cut those down. It's gonna cost them lots of money to cut those down, but they're not gonna fix the road.
So talk to me after the meeting, I'll help you with that.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, any more public comment on the agenda? Okay, we'll move on. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Rhonda.
Rhonda from Marathon Township. I wanted to comment on the roads too, which is that we all use the roads, and for somebody like Mr. Nisley, he probably can afford to pay an extra tax to get his road paved. But most people are really living close to the bone, and the reason that we have taxes and the reason that we have roads is for everyone. And so I don't think people who are wealthy who live on dirt roads should be saying other people should pay their own, I'll pay my own. And I just don't think that benefits everybody. That's it.
Okay.
I am on the roads. And I've already talked to you about it. Ray Road obviously is almost done for. It's got quicksand underneath the road where the two logs are right now, and go up any hill. I have a really nice car. It's a Buick, but cars nowadays are smaller. It is hard to drive around those holes without it. And you did introduce me to the road commissioner. I'd just like to see something put in the books. It was built in 1960. None of it's ever been replaced. It is a primary road, which puts a lot of the onus on to the county. I'll work with that if you work with the commissioner, but you have to endorse anything that I say because it has to come from you. But I'll work with you, okay?
That's fine.
So how do you like that one?
Okay, good enough. Okay, any more public comment on the agenda? Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved. Support.
Roll call. Barber.
Yes.
Standown.
Yes.
Clemens.
Yes.
Place.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to the supervisor's report. I'm working with the road commission as we speak on the roads. We got a couple different roads that they're suggesting, but we haven't made no decisions yet. Michelle's gone, so she don't have no clerk's report. Sarah?
Okay, the treasurer's report, I have the February treasurer's report back here on the table as you entered. If you'd like one, pick one up. I also do have a few things to go over. The last day to pay taxes at the township was on March 2nd. I'm waiting to hear from the county treasurer for a settlement date. Any delinquent parcels will need to check with the county later on in the month of March for a balance. They won't have those new totals until closer to the end of the month. They're getting all the totals from all of the township treasurers. It takes them a hot minute to figure out the new figures. While taking in taxes, I had many people ask, what is on the tax bill and how does it get there? So I thought this might help. Property taxes are annual or semi-annual taxes paid by property owners to local governments based on the assessed ad valorem according to value worth of their real estate, such as homes or land. These taxes are primary funding source for local services, including public schools, police departments, fire departments, road maintenance, and parks. The summer tax bill consists of the SAT, which is the state education tax, that requires the property to be assessed at 6 mills as part of the summer property taxes. County tax on the summer bill is set by the County Board of Commissioners. Summer property taxes are usually due by September 14th. The winter tax bill consists of millages and special assessments. Millages end up on the tax bill after a proposal passes an election voted on by registered voters. These could be township, county, or state proposals. A millage rate is the rate of tax used to calculate local property taxes, representing the amount of tax per $1,000 of property assessed taxable value. 1 mil equals 1,000th of a dollar, meaning 1 mil rate charged dollar for every 1,000 in assessed value. A special assessment is a charge against a property for public improvement that confers a special benefit to that property different from the benefit enjoyed by the general public. The winter property taxes are usually due by February 14th. I had many people ask me how the millages end up on their bill. I was a little bit surprised, but I explained it to each and every person that asked. But, so that's the information I have, and if there's any other questions you have about that, come see me. And that's all I have for tonight.
Okay, we'll move on to the Sheriff's Department report. Mr. Keller?
Hi, everybody. We had 108 total calls for service in Oregon Township last month. Of the 108, I responded personally to 57. 12 of those were traffic stops and 5 were priority medicals, just to highlight the top ones.
Assessor's report.
The assessor's report is in
Oh,
there.
okay, thank you, I'll go back. Okay, I skipped the assessor's report. Oh, go ahead, Mark.
Officer, you said, 12 and 5, and I take the 12 away from 57, what were all those other things?
There's a whole list, if you want to stop.
Well, were any of them, like,
Hey, Mark, we're gonna do that in public comment, please.
I can't question the officer?
At public comment, second public comment again. Okay, we're gonna move on to the assessor's report. Deb's not here, but we had 14 deeds were coded and 0 split applications. There was no split approvals, 1 combination approved, and 0 lot line adjustments. We didn't have a fire report. Construction code, for the month of February, there was 2 permits issued and 8 permits finalized. Wayne, transit?
No meeting.
No meeting. The ZBA met in February for a pole barn square footage variance that was approved. Planning Commission met in February to view master plan and create a road plan, fire lane and storage shed ordinance. The cemetery, there was nothing done. Moving on to the unfinished business. Bear with me because I got a long thing to read. The Police and Fire Special Assessment District discussion. Looking at a renewal of the Police and Fire Special Assessment Districts for a period of 6 years for both services. As part of the discussion, the board is reviewing estimated assessment levels based on projected service costs. Preliminary estimates indicate the funding for 2 officers would result in an estimated per parcel assessment of approximately $73 for police services. Fire services are estimated at approximately $64 per parcel. By comparison, the current police assessment is $40 if you have a house or $20 for a vacant. We had 3 officers and reduced to 1 officer as the cost did not fully cover services. The current fire assessment is $40 if you have a house, $20 for vacant per parcel, and does not fully cover the cost of fire services. In recent years, the township has supplemented police and fire services costs from other revenue sources when the assessment revenues were insufficient. The purpose of this discussion is to consider assessment levels that more closely align with actual service costs, which may allow greater flexibility within the township's overall budget, including road funding. A special assessment first public hearing will be moved from March 10th of 26 to March 31st at 26 at 6 p.m. Okay, moving on to new business. Are you guys good with the budget shop work at March 25th at 2 o'clock?
Good.
Chris, are you
When was
good?
it, March?
March 25th at 2 o'clock. We have to move it to 3.
Yeah, that's
Yes, that's good.
Chris, you good?
Yeah.
2 o'clock. Okay, I need a motion to approve to set the budget workshop for Wednesday, March 25th, 2026 at 2 p.m.
I'll make that motion.
I'll support it.
Clemens,
Yes.
Place,
Yes.
Barber,
Yes.
Van Bell.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to second public comment. Mark, you can talk now.
Yes, well, it's, I support our officers. I know the board up there has discussed cutting back on the number of officers that our township is going to pay for. So I always kind of look at the number of calls. We had, it was 168, I think, or 180, whichever it was. And this officer, one of 3, correct?
Just me.
Yeah.
Just you, 57. So were those other calls, were they officers from other townships, or were they other officers?
Other sheriff's department deputies, mostly general patrol.
Mostly general patrol.
Yes.
Because we talked about that before, about the general patrol covering more of our counties along with the state police. I know you do lots of health checks when
Yes.
people are gone. I'm sure there's
It's the season for that. We have a lot of.
when people are gone for the winter time. So I just want to thank you for doing that. You know, that's what you're here for, and you look like you're doing a good job. Crime is really low in our township. I don't know if we need to get more, so we get more officers, or we're gonna have less
No, we don't want
officers
that
and
part.
no crime. Because there's just the crime is of course the roads. Thank you.
Okay.
I just have a couple questions, and it's not being smart or anything like that. Over the last 2 years, we've had, property tax increases of over 6%, at least some of us, a good portion of us. We have that development out there at Shamrock Drive, and I see this increase, and I see this additional revenue brought into the township. Now we're making a decision to drop 2 officers, and I know the cost goes up. New vehicles, police officers, training, and of course your salary has to match the needs of, and I do have a lot of respect for all that you do when they're right there when you ask, call them. But, so how does the math come out, whereas we brought in more income into the township? We're gonna use part of it to augment the needs of our safety and fire. Keep in mind, I'm very ignorant because you've been here every week, or every month. But you can give me an explanation as to.
We're not gonna answer any questions at public comment. If you wanna come and see me, we can explain it to you.
Okay, I thought it was public comment.
It is public comment, but we're not gonna address any
Oh,
of
that's
it.
fine.
They could do it under board comment,
Yeah.
or they could just talk
Plus,
here.
I know where
You
you're
can
at.
come and see me anytime. You got my number.
All right.
Okay, any more public comment? Ken?
I know my days are numbered. I have been a bad boy. I haven't vowed to place my lips on the keysters. The other day, at an organizational meeting, somebody asked me to get them a cup of coffee. And I found out after all these years I've been barred from the offices, which is your privilege. Then at board review, the doors were kept locked to the offices. And should something go wrong during a board review meeting, there's no access to any safe haven for the board. And like I say, I know my days are numbered. If they choose not to reappoint me, that's their decision. But it will not be because I refuse to do the job. Thank you.
Yeah, Ken, as far as I know, that door was locked over there. But this door right here was open, access to Debbie. Yes, it was.
Tried it several times and it was
Well,
locked. I
it was
actually called
open.
them.
I shut it accidentally by once, and I went and asked Debbie, does she want that door open? And she told me yes, so I came back and opened it. So that door right there was open. as it was.
No, it wasn't. Several times I went to
It
that
was.
door to go to Debbie's
Okay,
office.
all right,
Couldn't get there.
we're gonna move on.
Yep.
Ken, do you have anything else to say?
You?
Okay, good enough. Any more public
Yep.
comment? Ma'am?
Hi, Susan Huff again, still from Metamore. I just want to muse on the roads for a moment. I have always lived on gravel roads except for the short time when I, was in college and that type of thing. And so I know that this is a seasonal problem. It happens twice a year, every spring and every fall. But I also know that in our situation, it has been greatly multiplied because, for example, we don't have municipal trash pickup. So where I live, we have 5 different trash companies pounding up and down our roads in a hurry to collect their trash. We have many Amazon trucks, we have UPS trucks, FedEx trucks pounding up and down the roads, plus the additional traffic, because more of us live here than used to live here. I do wish that speed limits could be lowered and enforced on gravel roads, because people, if they would slow down, wouldn't be throwing all of the dirt and the mud out of the holes as they go crashing through them in their leased vehicles or their Land Rovers or their G-Wagons that they can afford to replace when some of us are still driving our 2017 Buick Enclave. Also, as far as having a special assessment district on a public road, it's a public road. It's for the public. That would be like saying we should have a special assessment district for Marathon Road, because if nobody has ever gone north from here because they live down on Lake Lapeer, they need to go north on Marathon Road where my family lives, and it's as bad as our gravel road, and it has been for many, 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 many years. So there's another problem there. So yes, thank you for letting me just muse and chat on that. Good luck on the gravel roads. I will say yesterday and today were heavenly because the road graders came down our roads and it was like a highway.
In this to top on Clam Road, it's slated for 2028, which is a long ways off, but at least it's come. Or Marathon, I'm sorry.
It is slated. It is slated.
It is slated, yes. They're trying to move it up, but don't count.
My sister will be glad to hear that. Thank you.
Okay, Kevin?
Yeah, just referencing gravel roads and paved roads. Unfortunately, and it is unfortunate, the speed limit on all gravel roads in the state of Michigan is 55. That's a state law. If you recall, there used to be a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit just north of Oakwood on Baldwin Road, and because of residential areas there. It took years, somebody finally challenged it and took it to court and they won, so they had to take those signs down. Now, why somebody would going to go down these roads 55, I have no idea. I don't, but they do. And the nice thing about paved roads is that, like in Hadley, where they're able to get the speed limits lowered in certain directions to 35 and 45 respectively, north, south, east, west, you base it on access points. You can technically petition to have the speed limits lowered, and that's what they did, and they were successful at it. You can't do that on a dirt road. That's state law. There's nothing we can do about that. Even on a dirt road, if you have access points or a subdivision or 500 homes that are spaced 300 feet apart, you can't control the speed limit on these dirt roads. And that's unfortunately, but that's the law, and that's what we have to live with. And trying to get it changed in Lansing is a monumental task. I'd like to see that. As far as special assessment districts, I mean, those are decisions that people that live on those roads make collectively. If they want to do that, then they have a right to do that by law. If you want to change the law, then change the law. But that's the law. We can do that. And if I wanted to go out and see if my neighbors wanted to create a special assessment district on Mitchell Road, I can do that. And if I get a majority of them to agree, then we create a special assessment district. We pave the darn road. And everybody can use it, but we get to pave the road. The other comment I just want to make real quick has to do with taxes and the way that we vote on taxes. There's two proposals in the legislature that are out of committee on the floor, HB 4583 and 4584, that says that any election that involves a millage increase, a bond issue, or anything that has to do with a monetary issue related to property taxes has to be put on the November ballot. The reason why these things get put on the August primary ballots and other ballots is because participation levels are low. The people that are interested in passing these millages and these tax increases are able to go out and motivate their groups, people, and their supporters to go to the polls and vote. In August 4th, we have one coming up here on August 4th, and it's going to be on the ballot here in Lapeer County. And if we get the vote on that at the April Cal meeting, to whether we want to allow them to put that on that August ballot, primary ballot, or put it on the November ballot. I'm a supporter that everything should go on the November ballot. It has, primary ballots for primaries, or people that are running for office. We shouldn't be hiding millages and tax increases on those ballots. So I believe wholeheartedly, you want to reach out to the most people, they're going to show up in November to vote. If you don't think that it's going to pass, then you have a job, you have an obligation to go out to taxpayers and convince them why it should. If it passes and they vote for it, I'm perfectly fine with that. But to try to hide it on a primary ballot when you get a 10-15% participation rate, I think it's criminal. In my opinion, it's just hiding a tax that would not otherwise pass. And it may pass. So I just wanted to point those two things out, and just keep in mind that on August 4th, there's going to be a millage on there with a 30% increase.
Okay. Thanks. Okay, Mark?
Just want to make sure nobody else.
No, go ahead.
Spoke at once. One thing I forgot to bring up was the cell tower. Now they're going to have a meeting at Marathon Township Hall. I think it's last Monday, is it whatever on the calendar is, because they've got another site, obviously not in our township.
Ours, they're going ahead with ours in
It's in the county press. I didn't bring it with me.
Well, I don't know, it was all approved, so don't know if they backed out or not. But
Yeah, I was surprised.
last I heard, it was a go,
Yeah.
so.
I was surprised to see it in the county press.
Okay,
So I'm gonna go to that meeting and see what's going on.
Let me know if they, because the last time I talked to the lawyer, because he called for some more questions. So, as far as I know, it's slated for this spring. So,
As far as the gravel road, you're supposed to go really fast on, because then you just hit the top.
No, that's
Suspension doesn't work. as
That's
much.
voting, that's one of the ways.
Same principle.
Get up on plane.
Good point. Why is like a little humor?
okay, anybody else? All right, we'll move on to board comment. Cheryl, do you have anything?
Well, I sympathize with all the road conditions. I grew up on a dirt road, and I drive Marathon Road coming into work every day, so I know how bad it is. But I was also raised with this input from my parents and police officers, not that I was pulled over, but in driver's ed. We need to drive for our road conditions. If the roads are bad, we have to slow down, whether it's rain, snow, sleet, or bad roads. Unfortunately, we're never going to be able to stop Mother Nature. We live in Michigan. It's very cold. Spring, we thaw. The roads break up every year. It's just what happens in Michigan, and we always try to do the best we can with it. At least that's what I've seen. And there's a lot of roads out there that need to be repaired, but we'll get through it.
Okay, Wayne?
No, I'm good.
Chris?
I'm good.
Okay, Pat and Ken, you both know how to get a hold of me, just call me.
Oh,
and-
I ain't here,
Yeah. Okay, good enough.
If you need to come see me, come see me.
Okay. Need a motion to adjourn.
Support.
Call it at 6:40.
Appreciate that. Usually if you're busy.
I'll take you over to make it.
Appreciate that.
Okay.
Okay.
Um,